This is Mrs. Knowlton, and today we're going to be finally getting into some new material with Chapter 10. And this chapter is going to be all about circles. So today will be more of just looking at the definitions surrounding that. So first, definition of a circle. A circle is the set of all points in the plane that are equidistant from a given point, called the center of a circle. So when it says equidistant, that just means equal distance, so kind of how it sounds. So circle, basically what that is saying, if I have a point, every line that I make to the circle is all going to be the same distance. And so a circle with center C, so if I put C there to label that point, is called circle C. Or for short, we can just draw a circle with the center point in there, and then C. And so there are some different lines and segments that we get when we intersect them with these circles. The first one is a chord, and that's a segment whose endpoints lie on a circle. So we see that here, this chord. It's a segment, so it's not continuing on forever. The endpoints are on the circle. A secant, on the other hand, is kind of similar to a chord, but this one is a line that intersects a circle at 2 points. So this one was a segment, this one's a line. And so we see that here. This is a secant, and it has arrows on both sides, and so that's what makes it that. It's still intersecting at 2 points, just like the chord, but it's continuing forever on both sides. A tangent is also a line, so it's continuing on both ends, in the same plane as a circle that intersects it at exactly 1 point. And so we see that here. Unlike the secant, a tangent only intersects the circle at 1 point. And then the point where the tangent and a circle intersect is called the point of tangency. And then two other definitions that you should remember. One, the radius. That is that the endpoints are on the center and any point on the circle. So let's say this is my center. Let's say, I'll do a different color. Say it's D. The radius is from one endpoint is the center, and then another point on the circle. That would be a radius. A diameter, on the other hand, is a chord, so it's still a segment that contains the center of the circle. And it's also twice the radius. So to make this a diameter, I just continue it to the other side. And so it splits the circle in half. Okay, so let's go to our example. So here I'm going to tell whether the line, ray, or segment is best described as a radius, chord, diameter, secant, or tangent of circle C. So my first one, I'm going to look at AC. First, I notice that it is a segment. It is using my center, and it goes to the circle. So that means that this one's going to be a radius. Next one is AB. So this is going to be this whole thing. And it also goes through the center, but since it's going to both sides of the circle, this one's going to be a diameter. However, this also follows the definition of a chord, and that's because it is still a segment that goes to both ends of the circle. The endpoints are on the circle, so technically both of those would go with AB. Okay, now DE, this is a ray, because this is an endpoint, the line. So that's looking at this. And so now I'm seeing how many times it intersects the circle. And so I see it only intersects at 1 point. So that means that this one's going to be tangent. And then my last one here is going to be AE. So that's going to be this whole line. And I know it's a line because up here it has arrows. So that means it's talking about the line AE instead of the segment AE. And so this is going to be the secant. Okay, and then part E asks what word best describes AG and CB. So AG, if I'm looking at the line segment, now that is looking there. So the endpoints are on the circle, so that means it's either diameter or chord. But since it does not go through the center, that means that this one's just going to be a chord. And then CB, it's at the center, goes to the outside, so that means that CB is a radius. Then it says to name a tangent and a tangent segment. So in this circle, the only one that's a tangent was going to be that DE. And since a tangent's a line, I need to make sure I put arrows on the top there. But now the next one asks for a tangent segment. So that's just asking for not a line, but a whole segment. And so you can use a couple of different letters. I'm going to go ahead and use DB. So ask for a tangent segment. I want endpoints on there, not continue on both ends, but still intersecting the circle at one point. So for that, I can say DB is a tangent segment. And that is it for today. Your homework is on big ideas.